Let's cross to Tel Aviv now and catch up with Lior Kanan, who's the political correspondent with Channel 13. Lior, you interviewed me some months ago, so it's time for you to return the favour. Thanks for joining us. I first want to get your sense of the global pressure, the international community putting pressure on Israel all the time in this conflict. How is that received by the Israeli population? Is there resentment about that, or you've just come to expect it?
Well, first of all, Chris, thanks for having me. Happy to be here. And thank you for your moral clarity. I think you said some very important things. And of course, Israel is worried, I think, about what we see from different countries around the world, especially in the past few days. You mentioned the declarations from different countries. Of course, there's also the pressure from the United States and the Trump administration, which Israel greatly needs and wants its support in order to continue. And I think it's something to worry about. And Israel is at a crossroad now, because there are negotiations going on about a hostage deal, either a partial one or either one that will bring everyone home. But that, according to the state of Israel, has to include Hamas putting down his weapons, his leaders leaving Gaza, and of course, returning all of the hostages, 58 of them, as you mentioned, they're still there, fathers of young children, soldiers, men and women who are no longer alive. Unfortunately, at least 20 of the 58 are still alive, being tortured there in the Hamas tunnels. So Israel, I think, wants definitely to get everyone back. But the negotiation now, it's not very clear if it's leading, unfortunately, to an agreement, or Israel will have to continue. So it says it's military action in Gaza, which is becoming wider, and there are more units being brought in order to achieve the goal. And that is ultimately having Hamas not be a threat on Israel and on its national security anymore. Because, as you said, Israel cannot afford to have this threat right by its border and have the option of October 7th ever happening again. So,
Absolutely.
Yes, I think people are worried about different statements being made. And I think there's a lot of hypocrisy, as you, I think, explained very well, because people maybe need to be reminded. I know you don't, and many people don't need a reminder, but many people around the world do need to be reminded that Hamas was the one who started this on October 7th, invaded the Israeli towns, cities, kibbutzes, and murdered and raped and took hostage more than 251 people to Gaza and killed more than 1,000.
Now,
Israel did not choose this war.
Now, there are two very important things happening at the moment. There's the ground offensive to go in there and try and take out Hamas and get the hostages. This is very difficult for the Israeli military because they can be picked off by the Hamas terrorists on the ground in there. But secondly, more aid is going into Gaza, and people need to understand that's the only way that the Palestinians in Gaza, have been able to survive this last year and a half, is the aid that the Israelis have allowed and facilitated to go in there. I mean, they've been supporting the Palestinian people at the same time they've been fighting Hamas.
Yeah, and the problem is that, unfortunately, a lot of this humanitarian aid reaches the hands of Hamas, and that's what Israel is trying to make sure doesn't happen anymore. So there was a decision 2 days ago to bring in more humanitarian aid to help the population in Gaza, the civilian population. But, I think probably the state of Israel and the people of Israel care much more about the population in Gaza than Hamas does, unfortunately, because we see Hamas using them as human shields. We see them launch missiles from hospitals and schools, and we see them take over the humanitarian aid. So I think Israel, because it's part of our morals and the way we believe things should be, we don't want to have people who are not involved hungry or in danger in Gaza. And
Exactly.
I think it's also necessary in order to, continue the military action. So
Thanks
that's
so
what
much.
Israel is trying to do.
Exactly. Well explained, Lior. Thanks so much for joining us and giving us your perspective. I appreciate it greatly.